You're floating through crystal blue water, tiny fins working overtime just to stay upright, when suddenly your world turns upside down. Literally, because you're a seahorse, and staying vertical is basically your full-time job. But that's just the beginning of your problems. Being born a seahorse isn't some magical underwater fairy tale. It's a nightmare wrapped in scales, and you're about to find out why Mother Nature really had it out for your species. Picture this. You've just hatched from your father's pouch. Yes, your father. We'll get to that horror show later. You're about the size of a grain of rice, translucent as glass, and completely helpless in an ocean that wants to eat you for breakfast. Your survival rate? About 1 in 1,000. Those aren't lottery odds you want to play. While other fish are born with speed, strength, or at least the basic ability to swim properly, you got stuck with a tail that curls like a question mark and a swimming style that makes a drunk penguin look graceful. Your first challenge is simple. Don't die in the next 5 minutes. The ocean current alone could slam you into a rock and turn you into fish paste before you even know what hit you. You can't swim against the tide like other fish. Instead, you drift like a piece of kelp, completely at the mercy of forces beyond your control. Your tiny dorsal fin flutters desperately, beating up to 50 times per second, just to move forward at the blazing speed of 5 feet per hour. A snail could literally outrun you. But speed isn't your only problem. You're practically invisible, which sounds like a superpower until you realize it means everything in the ocean sees you as an easy snack. Crabs scuttle along the bottom, looking for bite-sized appetizers like you. Fish patrol the waters with mouths wide open, ready to vacuum up anything small enough to swallow. Even jellyfish, those brainless floating nightmares, pose a deadly threat. One brush with their tentacles, and you're paralyzed, sinking toward the seafloor like a tiny doomed ornament. Your body design is a masterpiece of evolutionary confusion. While other fish have streamlined bodies built for speed and efficiency, you look like someone tried to build a horse out of spare fish parts and gave up halfway through. Your head sits at a 90-degree angle to your body, creating drag that would make an engineer weep. Your skeleton is made of bony plates instead of proper bones, making you rigid and inflexible. Try to make a quick turn to escape a predator. Good luck. You'll be swimming in slow circles while death approaches from behind. And let's talk about eating. Most fish can open their mouths wide and gulp down whatever they want. You've got a tube for a mouth that's barely wider than a human hair. Your entire feeding strategy involves positioning yourself perfectly and sucking in tiny organisms one at a time. It's like trying to eat soup through a coffee stirrer while riding a roller coaster. You need to consume thousands of microscopic creatures every single day just to survive. And each meal requires precise timing and positioning that would challenge a sniper. The water pressure around you shifts constantly, and your primitive swim bladder struggles to keep you neutrally buoyant. Too shallow, and you'll float helplessly toward the surface, where seabirds patrol for easy meals. Too deep, and the pressure will crush your delicate body like a grape. You spend your entire existence in a narrow band of water, fighting physics just to maintain your position. Your eyesight is decent. Sure, you can move each eye independently, scanning for threats and food simultaneously. But what good is excellent vision when you can't do anything about what you see? You spot a predator approaching, and your options are limited to hoping it doesn't notice you or trying to hide behind something slightly larger than a toothpick. The ocean doesn't care about your struggles. Storms turn the water into chaos, tossing you around like debris. Temperature changes can shut down your already sluggish metabolism. Chemical pollution seeps through the water, turning your liquid world into a toxic soup that burns your gills and clouds your vision. Plastic fragments drift past like deadly confetti, and you can't tell the difference between food and microplastics until it's lodged in your digestive system, slowly killing you from the inside. Then there's the mating ritual, which makes every other aspect of your existence look like a vacation. Most animals have it easy. Male peacocks show off fancy feathers, male lions fight for dominance, male humans buy expensive cars. You're stuck with the most backwards reproductive system in the animal kingdom. The females don't even carry the babies. That job falls to the males, and it's not some noble sacrifice. It's biological torture disguised as parenting. When breeding season arrives, you don't get to be the choosy one. The females parade around, showing off their bright colors and plump egg pouches, while you desperately try to convince one of them that your brood pouch is prime real estate. You perform elaborate courtship dances that would make a Broadway choreographer dizzy, twisting and spiraling through the water in synchronized swimming routines that drain what little energy you have left. Your color changes rapidly, flashing patterns like a broken neon sign, all to prove you're worthy of carrying someone else's offspring. If you're lucky enough to win a female's attention, the real nightmare begins. She deposits hundreds of eggs directly into your brood pouch, and suddenly you're pregnant, not metaphorically pregnant, actually, genuinely, biologically pregnant in ways that would make human fathers faint. Your pouch swells until you look like you've swallowed a golf ball, throwing off your already terrible swimming balance even more. For the next 2 to 4 weeks, you're basically a floating nursery with fins. The eggs develop inside your pouch, fed by nutrients from your own body. You're literally giving parts of yourself to keep these babies alive, while still trying to hunt for the thousands of tiny organisms you need daily just to survive. Your metabolism goes haywire, trying to support both yourself and hundreds of developing embryos. Sleep becomes impossible because the babies are constantly moving, creating a sensation like having permanent stomach butterflies, except the butterflies are actually tiny horses with sharp spines. Your mobility drops to practically zero. Swimming was already a challenge, but now you're carrying extra weight in the worst possible location. Predators sense your vulnerability like sharks smell blood. You can't flee, you can't fight, and you can't even hide properly because your swollen pouch makes you look like a lumpy, easy target floating through the water. The birth process makes human childbirth look like a gentle sneeze. Your pouch contracts violently, shooting tiny seahorses out like a machine gun firing rice grains. Hundreds of miniature versions of yourself get launched into the water column, most of them immediately swept away by currents or snapped up by passing fish. You watch your offspring disappear into the mouths of predators within seconds of being born, knowing that statistically, maybe 5 of them will survive to adulthood. And then, because the ocean has a twisted sense of humor, the whole cycle starts again immediately. Some females line up while you're still recovering from the birth, ready to deposit another batch of eggs into your exhausted pouch. You don't get time to heal, rest, or recover. It's pregnancy after pregnancy until your body finally gives out from the constant strain. Your lifespan reflects this brutal existence. While some fish live for decades, you're lucky to see your second birthday. Most seahorses die within their first year. worn down by the constant struggle against physics, predators, and their own reproductive biology. Every day is a battle just to exist in a world designed for creatures that are faster, stronger, and smarter than you'll ever be. Ever pollution chokes your gills while microplastics clog your gut. Your mate selection process involves males getting pregnant in the most backwards reproduction system nature ever designed. You spend weeks carrying hundreds of babies that drain your already pathetic energy reserves. Then comes the mating dance nightmare. While other animals just need to look attractive or fight for dominance, you perform exhausting underwater ballet routines just to convince a female your brood pouch is worth her time. You flash colors like a broken traffic light, twist through elaborate choreography that would challenge Olympic swimmers, all while your body screams for the energy you're wasting on this biological circus. If you manage to attract a mate, congratulations. You're about to become the only male in the animal kingdom who gets pregnant. The female dumps hundreds of eggs into your pouch and swims away, leaving you to carry her offspring like some twisted underwater kangaroo. Your belly swells until swimming becomes even more impossible than before. For weeks, you're a living incubator, feeding developing babies with nutrients from your own starving body. The babies grow inside you, constantly squirming and kicking like tiny demons. You can't hunt properly because you're too bloated to move. You can't rest because they never stop moving. Your metabolism burns through what little fat you have, trying to keep both yourself and hundreds of embryos alive simultaneously. When birth finally comes, you go into labor like any other pregnant creature. Contractions rack your body as you squeeze out dozens of miniature versions of yourself, each one facing the same impossible odds you barely survived. Most of them will be dead within hours, picked off by the same predators that have been stalking you your entire life. The few that survive will grow up to repeat this cycle of suffering. They'll struggle with the same terrible body design, the same impossible feeding requirements, the same backwards reproduction system that makes every aspect of existence a battle against physics and common sense. So there you have it. Being born a seahorse means winning the worst genetic lottery in the ocean. You're too slow to escape danger, too weak to fight back, too specialized to adapt, and too backwards to reproduce without torturing yourself in the process. So next time you see a seahorse gracefully drifting through an aquarium, remember that behind those alien eyes lies a creature trapped in an evolutionary nightmare, fighting impossible odds just to survive another day in a body that seems designed by someone who hated fish.